Y'all, that people be mad. She gonna always be mad. What gotta say? If you ain't got no haters, you ain't popping. So D-Lo, we finna turn up on these. He got me on one, playing on my top.
Okay, y'all, this situation is way messier than anyone expected. And honestly, nobody saw this emotional fallout coming. Because what started as quiet whispers behind the scenes suddenly exploded into a full-blown emotional storm that left fans shocked, blogs scrambling, and one person completely heartbroken. We're talking tears, betrayal rumors, hidden connections, and a love triangle narrative that the internet simply cannot stop talking about. And right in the middle of it all, Angela Simmons. Now picture this. Everything seems calm on the surface. Angela's glowing, minding her business, focusing on her life, her brand, her peace. Fans are used to seeing her as strong, graceful, and emotionally composed. But behind that calm exterior, something was brewing that would shake her emotionally in a way nobody expected. Then, boom, a revelation drops.
I'm finna give y'all exactly what y'all been looking for. The people who've been talking a little crazy, I see y'all. I see the crazy people, okay? I see the crazy people that's rappers. I see the crazy people that's bloggers. I see the crazy people that's fans. I see the crazy people that's naughties. Y'all, it's finna get exactly what y'all been looking for.
Suddenly, Megan's name gets tied into exposing alleged behind-the-scenes dynamics involving Yo Gotti and GloRilla, and the internet immediately goes into investigation mode. Screenshots, timelines, old interviews, cryptic posts, everything starts getting dissected in real time. And what nobody expected was the emotional reaction that followed. Because when the story reached Angela, it wasn't just gossip anymore. It felt personal. And that's where things truly got emotional. To really understand why this situation hit so deeply, we have to rewind and look at the emotional history behind these relationships. Angela Simmons has always carried herself with a quiet strength. From growing up in the spotlight to navigating love publicly, she has experienced heartbreak in ways the world has witnessed firsthand. She's not new to emotional trials. She's lived through loss, public scrutiny, and deeply personal chapters that shaped how she approaches love and trust. Her connection with Yo Gotti was never just a random headline. Fans remember how long he publicly admired her, how he openly spoke about her, and how their eventual relationship felt like a full-circle love story. To many supporters, it looked genuine, patient, and built on admiration rather than impulse.
Yeah. It's king.
For years, Yo Gotti expressed interest in Angela in interviews and lyrics, creating this narrative that he truly wanted her, not just as a moment, but as something real. When they were finally seen together romantically, fans celebrated like it was destiny finally unfolding. Angela, on the other hand, appeared cautious but hopeful. She never rushed to overshare. She moved carefully, protecting her emotions, while still allowing glimpses of happiness to show. And that balance made people root for her even more. But here's the twist. Behind the polished public moments, rumors about Yo Gotti's industry relationships were always floating in the background. Nothing confirmed, nothing loud, just quiet conversations online about how business and personal lines in the music world sometimes blur. Then enter GloRilla, rising star, bold personality, and someone closely associated with Yo Gotti professionally through the label. Their connection was always framed as mentorship, business alignment, and artist support. That's what the public saw. But the internet always watches deeper. Fans began noticing interactions, body language at events, subtle support patterns, and social media energy that sparked speculation long before any major drama surfaced. Still, none of it ever crossed into confirmed territory. Everything stayed in the realm of maybe and probably not. Until Meghan's alleged comments and online buzz shifted the entire narrative. Suddenly, the conversation wasn't quiet anymore. It was loud, extremely loud. The blogs started posting theories, fans started connecting dots, old clips resurfaced, and whispers about a deeper relationship dynamic between Yo Gotti and GloRilla started spreading faster than anyone could control. Now here's where the emotional weight begins. Because when those rumors reached Angela, it didn't feel like simple industry gossip. It felt like betrayal rumors attached to her personal life. And anyone who has ever been in a relationship knows hearing something unexpected about someone you care about hits differently when it comes from the outside world first.
Imagine scrolling online and seeing thousands of strangers discussing your relationship like it's a storyline. That alone is overwhelming. But what nobody expected was the emotional response that followed. Sources and fan accounts began describing Angela as visibly emotional, quieter than usual, and stepping back from public energy. Her posts became more reflective. Her tone shifted. The glow fans were used to suddenly carried a hint of sadness. And that's when people started saying, wait, something is really wrong. But here's where the drama deepens. Because the internet didn't just focus on the alleged exposure, they began analyzing Meghan's role and how the rumors gained traction. Some claimed her indirect remarks and circulating industry whispers helped amplify a narrative that might have otherwise stayed behind closed doors. Now, whether intentional or not, the impact was explosive. Fans began asking uncomfortable questions. Was Angela blindsided? Did she already know? Or was this something she discovered alongside the public? That uncertainty alone created emotional chaos online. Meanwhile, Yo Gotti stayed relatively quiet, which only fueled more speculation. Silence in celebrity drama is never interpreted as peace. It's usually seen as tension, and that silence made the situation feel heavier. GloRilla, on the other hand, continued focusing on her career moves, appearances, and music promotions, not directly addressing the rumors. But in today's social media culture, even silence becomes a statement. And that created a triangle of unanswered questions that fans couldn't ignore. But what nobody expected was how deeply this narrative would affect Angela emotionally. Because behind the glamour, she is still a woman who has publicly spoken about wanting genuine love, loyalty, and emotional security. Her past losses and experiences already made her cautious. So when public speculation touches her relationship, it doesn't just feel like gossip, it feels like emotional exposure. Reports of her tearing up during private moments and appearing visibly shaken in recent sightings made fans even more concerned. Supporters flooded her comments with messages like, "Stay strong," and "You deserve real love," which only confirmed that people sensed emotional pain behind the scenes.
And honestly, that's what made this situation heavier than typical celebrity drama. This wasn't loud arguing. This wasn't messy online back and forth. This was quiet heartbreak energy, the kind that shows up in subtle ways. But here's the part that truly shifted the emotional tone of the entire story. Instead of reacting with public anger, Angela reportedly chose silence and emotional reflection. No explosive posts, no cryptic attacks, just a noticeable withdrawal that spoke louder than words. And sometimes, silence is the loudest emotional response of all. Because it suggests processing, it suggests hurt, it suggests disappointment. Fans who followed her journey for years began saying this felt different from past situations. Not dramatic, not performative, just deeply emotional. Meanwhile, discussions about Meghan's involvement kept spreading, with some fans claiming the exposure narrative escalated tensions that might have otherwise stayed private. Others argued that the internet exaggerated everything beyond reality. But regardless of who said what, the emotional outcome remained the same. Angela was at the center of a storm she didn't publicly create. And that kind of position is emotionally exhausting. Imagine loving someone, building something meaningful, and then waking up to headlines questioning the foundation of that bond. That's not just drama, that's emotional pressure. Close observers noted how Angela's public appearances became more reserved. Her smile looked softer, less carefree. Her energy shifted from radiant to reflective, not broken, but visibly affected. And that emotional shift is what truly touched fans the most, because they weren't just watching gossip unfold, they were watching a woman process potential heartbreak in real time.
As the situation continued trending, supporters began revisiting Yo Gotti's past public admiration for Angela, questioning whether his feelings were as deep as they once appeared. Others defended him, saying industry rumors shouldn't define personal relationships. But the emotional damage of speculation had already landed, and the internet, it never pauses once a narrative starts. People analyzed every detail: old photos, timelines, interviews, and even body language during past appearances. Every frame became evidence in a story that might have been far more complicated behind closed doors. Through it all, Angela remained composed publicly, but emotionally present in subtle ways. And that quiet strength made the situation even more heartbreaking, because instead of chaos, she showed vulnerability. Instead of denial, she showed grace. Instead of drama, she showed emotion. And honestly, that reaction alone changed how fans viewed the entire situation. Emotionally, this wasn't just about relationship rumors. It was about trust, perception, and the painful reality of having personal matters discussed on a global stage. For someone who has already experienced deep personal loss and public scrutiny, facing another wave of emotional uncertainty can feel overwhelming. Friends and supporters hinted that she leaned more into self-care, family time, and inner reflection during this period, which suggests she was protecting her peace rather than feeding the noise. And that choice, that says a lot, because not every battle needs to be fought publicly. Now, here's the powerful truth that many people overlooked. Even if every rumor online isn't accurate, the emotional impact of public speculation is very real. Being questioned, analyzed, and emotionally dissected by millions of strangers can affect anyone, no matter how strong they appear. And Angela has always been someone who values emotional depth over public validation. So when fans saw her emotional reaction, many didn't see weakness. They saw humanity. They saw a woman navigating love, loyalty, and unexpected public pressure all at once. Meanwhile, the industry kept moving, the blogs kept posting, and the conversations kept evolving. But Angela's quiet emotional presence remained the center of attention, not because of scandal, but because of how real her reaction felt. And that's what made this story different from typical celebrity drama. It wasn't loud chaos, it was emotional reality. As the dust slowly settles, one question still lingers in everyone's mind. Will this situation strengthen her or change how she approaches love moving forward? Because history shows that Angela doesn't break publicly, she grows privately. And if there's one thing her journey has proven, it's that emotional pain doesn't define her, it refines her.
At the end of the day, the rumors, the exposure narratives, and the internet theories may fade. Headlines always move on, trends always change, but emotional experiences leave deeper marks than any viral story ever could. And maybe that's the real takeaway from this entire situation. Not the gossip, not the speculation, not the industry whispers, but the quiet moment where a strong woman felt something deeply and chose grace over chaos. Because sometimes the loudest stories aren't the ones filled with shouting and drama. Sometimes the most powerful story is the one told through tears, silence, and emotional strength. And if this chapter proves anything, it's that Angela Simmons is still standing, emotional, reflective, and stronger than the narrative trying to define her. But one thing is certain, this story is far from over. And the truth behind the emotions may be deeper than the internet will ever fully understand.